trying to remember my what you've been watching shit.
I think we're good.
Here goes that intro.
Give me that intro, baby. Watch me eat delicate chocolate. No, not delicate. Succulent chocolate.
I want you guys to be aware that the trivia section is going to be slight, but it is going to pack a little punch.
There's actually a lot of good news we can do.
Good news,
Cool.
everyone.
Good news, everyone. Man,
Dude.
the trivia yeah.
2 weeks, I'll be in Saxonville, baby.
Ooh. Saxonville, where the whites are.
What up, nerds? Welcome to another hungry episode of Straight Chilling. My name's Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 220, recorded on Thursday, June 20th, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a movie called Feast from 2005, chosen by our lovely Patreon supporter, Vincent.
Ooh,
Thank you, Vincent. Thanks for kicking ass. Chewing bubblegum, but mainly kicking ass. Before we get into the review, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., my boy Randy Gandy G. Landy.
Hello, how are we?
We are well now. Everything is okay.
Cool.
Crises
After that,
averted.
like hour and a half or whatever of trying to figure out our technological bullshit.
Troubleshooting, putting out fires, troubleshooting. Holy shnikes. The crazy thing is, only one variable changed, but everything shit the bed. Everything.
It was a simultaneous bed shit.
It was. Last but not least, calling in from Southern Korea, our boy Soju. What's up, Soju?
What up? It's your boy Soju. For Vincent's pick, you need to bring back the Vincent Price soundboard. Hello, this is Vincent Price.
You look so silly.
I wish you would have told me that before we were recording the show.
1,000 years of fun.
It's been a while
You
since
said
I've
that
made
way
one,
wrong,
though.
but I love that you
I
said
did. I don't. Dude, what episode is
the
that? That shit is-
funkiest 100,000 years of all
Oh,
time.
man. I'd have to look on
We'll
our
say it
spreadsheet.
by Vinny Price.
I can't remember. It's on the spreadsheet. I put him down as like a joke guest. Vincent Price.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not like we would get the benefit because we can't hear that shit on our end, but whatever.
Yeah, that is true. It'd just be Rob cracking up at himself.
Like, oh, you
Laughing
okay?
at my own jokes, which is pretty
Vincent chimed in.
par for the
Wow.
course. Gracious. Let's go ahead and knock out some of this housekeeping, y'all. Just a reminder, our July poll pick is posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you can vote on a movie we're going to talk about this July. The theme for July is movies that I would hate. And the three movies you can vote between are Human Centipede 2, The Greasy Strangler, and Halloween Resurrection.
The good one.
I looked earlier today, and it was a dead heat, actually, between The Greasy Strangler and Halloween Resurrection.
It is.
That
It's
on
tied.
Instagram.
Yeah, I haven't looked since I threw that post up on Instagram, so I don't know if the tie was broken or not.
So if
yeah,
you're a stan for the Greasy Strangler or the Busta Rhymes Halloween movie, then get on there and break our tie for fuck's sake. We gotta get
Can somebody like change their vote after they voted? Like if there was a tie and like everybody was finished voting?
I don't know.
And
That's a
somebody
good question.
like somebody from
Great
like Human
question.
Centipede 2, like is what I was thinking,
That's-
you know?
That really
I
sounds like
don't
something that people should be trying. Please try that and let us know the results.
Yeah, you can always change it back if it lets you. Whatever.
Yeah.
Those movies are all very terrible, and I could easily complain about them all. But I think I would get great enjoyment through forcing you guys or having our Patreon supporters force you guys to watch The Greasy Strangler, because I know you guys haven't seen that one, and it is horrible.
Well, I haven't even seen Halloween Resurrection before, so
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
no, I never have.
Okay, wow.
Oh,
It's very
Bob
bad.
changing his stance.
No,
I
still-
haven't.
I
I
kinda
don't think
wanna
I've
see-
seen either. I don't think I've seen either.
I've gotten the rundown of that movie though, so I mean, I know the beats. I know how
seen.
I
I have seen the
goes.
PCP scene of the Greasy Strangler. PCP being penis cleavage pants, which is something I invented in high school, and they are now just bringing it back.
Buddy, do you really want to stake that claim? Is that the hill you're gonna die on?
I do want to claim that. But if we talk about the Greasy Strangler, we can talk about penis cleavage pants.
Okay, I mean, that's a selling point, I guess.
There's not just one PCP scene. That's like half of the damn movie.
Damn. I
It's
hope
a
Greasy
lot.
Strangler wins now.
I was not aware of that scene, but nor was I aware that you were showing half of your penis in high school to people. I didn't know that. But I guess we're learning all sorts of things.
It was more in theory. It was more theoretical.
It's more a mock-up, you know.
It's just a thesis. It's just a thesis. There's no double-blind study happening on the penis cleavage.
Draw pictures of half dicks hanging out of pants.
Just the half.
Just seeing you like drawing up like schematics of the penis and the inch diameters and shit.
The upper third of the wang is exposed.
It's like 3 steps below the happy tree.
Oh shit. Also, we got to give a shout outs real quick to our new Patreon supporter, Spanish Henry. Thank you.
Whoa, Spanish
Thank you,
Henry.
Spanish. Or Henry, whatever you prefer to go by.
S.H. We could call him Shh.
That's important.
Maybe a little demeaning, but sure.
Dude, my boy. Dude, I kind of like that.
It's slightly ominous, like, oh yeah, that dude is in a horror, isn't he?
Yeah, my boy.
But yeah, much thanks for supporting us, dude. We appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Always. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
Thank you.
Justin, you have any YouTube or Twitch news?
We do. Layers of Fear. I played another hour and a half this week. So hour and a half last week, hour and a half this week. That game is still fucking baller. It is so fun. It is, dude. And I was watching back. It is posted on YouTube now, so you can watch both hour and a half of YouTube. And I was watching back. That shit's funny, dude. Like, it scares the shit out of me. Like, legit. It's like, there's this one elevator scene I was rewatching or whatever, and like you see it kind of like the elevator gets stuck and it's like halfway through and you can kind of see like something skirting across like the dark floor, and then like it's got the hatch in the top of the elevator like opens and like shit pops out. I'm like, oh my god. It like scares the shit out of me, legit. So
listening to you talk about, I know you're excited about this because when you talk about it, you sound like a kid explaining Pokemon to his mom for the first time.
Dude, I'm so glad. We've got one more session next week. I don't know if it'll last an hour and a half or not, just based on like the progress of the game, but it's fun. It's so fucking fun. I'm so glad I'm playing it. So you can check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Straight Chillin' Podcast if you want to watch it live. Or you can relive my terror on YouTube under the Layers of Fear tab on our playlist. That's youtube.com/Straight Chillin' Podcast. And I have a new video game review. It's finished, but I need to upload it. So maybe by the time this episode is live, it will be uploaded. So we're averaging like 4 or 5 videos a week now on YouTube. Damn. Yeah, you can get horror video game reviews, horror video game streams, our behind the scenes, our regular episodes, and then maybe like once a month, Bob crawls out of his vinegar hole and gives us a Bob's Blu-rays.
I need to do another one. I do.
I know. We're already up to the 10 count for June, so we know you have a lot of DVDs to talk about. We got to get the vinegar count today, so we'll keep progressing that.
Oh, man.
Or only on the 21st. I know you're already up to 10, so we'll see.
I don't like this.
He's vinegar stroking.
I don't like it.
We need a bump. We need a bump for the vinegar hole.
Just play some Clarence Carter. It'll be good.
Way down in the vinegar hole.
No, I'm thinking stroking, but whatever. That's
yeah. Sure. So I think that's all of my housekeeping. Check us out on YouTube. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe, please. A little comment if it pleases you.
We got one more thing. We got a live show coming up on July 16th. That is next month. It's a month away. It's going to be on a Wednesday right here in Jacksonville, Florida at 7 o'clock at the lovely Sunray Cinema. We're going to be showing Sleep Away Camp. And right after, we're going to be doing a live show. And we're also going to be having a special guest, none other than Anthony from Something Ghoulish. It's going to be fucking great. Andy designed a sweet poster that is currently being printed as we speak. We're going to be selling those at the show. We're going to have like fun giveaways and prizes and whatnot.
We got some new merch coming as well, right?
Yeah, we got some new merch. I'm picking it up tomorrow, actually.
Whoa,
from a drug dealer. I'm picking up drugs to give to our fans, our listeners.
Dude, little pills with straight chillin'.
You should definitely trim this part.
Yep, drugs.
I purchased so many drugs for the children.
The children's. But come hang out with us on July 17th for show. Watch some Sleepaway Camp. If you've never seen it before, do no research. Just know it's a camp slasher joint. That's all you really need to know. Yeah, I think that is actually it for housekeeping. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into what we've been watching this week.
Gentlemangs.
Randy, what you been watching?
Well, I've actually been watching quite a bit, but it's all like during work. I work from home, so doing a lot of work from in front of the tube, just letting things run. I watched a little bit more of The Terror, which I mentioned before. I'm about episode 3, but I'm actually gonna like probably give myself some time to watch that when I'm not distracted because I'm enjoying it quite a bit, and I want to make sure effect. Yeah. I watched a couple of episodes of Big Little Lies from the first season, which I had not watched. That's an HBO show. You guys familiar with that one?
Yeah, people have been raving about it.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of like really glowing reviews, and it's got like a shit ton of like A+ fucking premium ass fucking actors and actresses in it. And so far it's pretty okay. It's strikingly, it's reminding me very much of People in Santa Barbara. People are very, very into themselves in this show. And they're also very affluent. So I'm getting a lot of flashbacks to my former abode. But so I'm enjoying that okay. I also have watched the entire, all 3 seasons available on Netflix of Better Call Saul. So I'm finally making headway there. Season 4, I think, comes to Netflix next month, I believe.
Damn, and that show's still going?
Still going. There's season 5, I think, is confirmed.
How many seasons of Breaking Bad were there? Like 7?
There were 5.
Oh, 5. Oh, shit.
Damn.
Yeah, so they're really going for it. It's a definitely a different thing, different animal than Breaking Bad. It doesn't quite have the same philosophical bent, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a lot of fun to watch, and it's just like seeing how people operate or what the characters are well written. Michael McKean is great in it, which I didn't even know he was going to be in it. But for a comedic actor, like there's like 2 comedic actors in lead roles in this show, and comedians are taking over the world, man. They're taking over drama and horror. They're just knocking it out of the park too.
And politics.
Well, I mean, that's always been true, but they've just never called themselves comedians. Let's see. And then finally, I threw on Lost the other day once I finished Better Call Saul, and I just needed to like put something on so I could.
Man, you poor
and
man.
that's kind of. I
hate that we all feel that way now. I shook my head too, and I was just like, "Why do I feel?"
I'm actually surprised to see that reaction, and it actually is comforting because I have not watched it. I have not watched a lick of Lost since before like sophomore year of college. Like I think that was about when the series ended, and it wasn't long after that I just kind of like was on things. And man, that show for as being as important as it was to me and like this huge like cultural milestone in my youth, it's a pretty fucking bad show. Like it's not like God, the dialogue in that shit is so it seems so mind-blowing to me as a fucking high schooler, and now I'm just looking back like God, especially after watching like the crazy good TV content we get now, a lot of it. Like just the way people act is so unnatural, and like everybody's like setting up the next thing for themselves and for them. Like I don't know, it just You can just see, it's like watching a chess match while somebody's explaining to you every move that's going to happen in advance. It's like just, I don't know. It's still fun and for nostalgic reasons and stuff, but I'm kind of bummed out that I'm not enjoying it like I used to. What are you going to do?
We all have that guttural reaction. We're all just like, oh no.
Yeah.
I remember like my favorite musician of all time is this guy Jeff Rosenstock, and he and another musician who I like, Chris Fair, and they have another podcast called Back to the Island, where they went back and watched not all but most, I think, of Lost, out of order, of course, as you do. And I remember listening to a couple episodes and being so bummed out. I was like, how can my hero hate this show that I love so much? And now I look back, it's like, man, he was just trying to guide me along to maturity. I think
like he always
I just wasn't. I wasn't ready to hear the truth. I don't know.
Adults.
There we go.
Anything else, Randy?
No, that's too much already.
Juice. What you been watching?
I finally finished the Ted Bundy thing I was watching, the Ted Bundy tapes. And it's only like 4 episodes, so I think I just had to finish like 1 episode since like last podcast. And God, that dude's so scary. At the end of the Bundy tapes, I guess like I don't know, he got his execution date, and then they tried to like appeal it and everything like that. And then in his like final like just couple days, he just like started to admit everything, just admitting everything, and it's so scary. They have recordings of it. Sometimes he's just like talking through, I guess, like a little hole, like in the I don't know, in the separating like glass or whatever. He's like whispering, and he's like talking about like this like chick's head. He's like, if you're looking for her severed head, I carried it 50 yards up the rocky road. Like, it's insane, dude. It's fucking crazy. He talks about like he admits to like finally like necrophilia and stuff.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's fucking insane. This dude who for like, I don't know, he was on death row for like 12 years and like, I didn't do final like 2 days. Yeah, like I did everything. I like killed and decapitated and raped. And it's just like, holy shit, dude, it's nuts. So that's some real scary shit. That dude's fucking scary. So I watched that, and it's been a while, but since we had watched Godzilla and I enjoyed it so much, I watched Pacific Rim again, and it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I remember Bob like loved the shit out of it, and like I liked it like good or whatever, but I didn't love it as much as Bob. And I still don't love it as much as Bob. But I wish that Godzilla, like, I love the spectacle of Godzilla so much. And I think it is so much better than, like, the Pacific Rim spectacle, especially after, like, rewatching it. Because there's one, like, big, like, with the big robots, there's, like, one big fight where they get all of them together, really. And then it just, like, one of them destroys, like, most of the robots. And you're like, well, that's fucking stupid. But then I really wish Godzilla could have, like, captured the human element that Pacific Rim captured. Like, I wish they could combine those two movies. Like, the human, because the cast in Pacific Rim is nuts. And like even like how quirky like some of it is, it like works really well. I really wish they could have somehow like captured those two things and wrapped them.
Man,
so that would be like the perfect fucking kaiju movie.
The human element in Pacific Rim is still not amazing, but it is.
I was gonna say
good enough. It's good enough.
It's like,
and Charlie.
It does not
is America's sweetheart, and it's got that white dude from Sons of Anarchy that's just a white dude.
Yeah,
he doesn't do anything.
He definitely brings it down a notch because the rest of the cast, like Ron Perlman and fucking, I mean, and Charlie Day kills it. Like, yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty solid. So, I mean, it's still not like amazing, but I feel like if it's not as like boring as fucking Godzilla, it's not just like people I don't give two shits about. It's like they at least have like something going on. So anyway, so I rewatched that. Still not like blowing my load like Bob, but it was good. It was a fun rewatch. It's got like some really cool aesthetic and got that cool kind of like cyberpunk kind of vibe and like the cities they kind of hang around and stuff. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's been about it.
Cool. I I watched some stuff. First up, Randy, I gotta give you mad props for recommending Los Espookies.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
It's a new show on HBO that I think just one episode is out so far. But I watched it on your recommendation, and I fucking loved it. Like,
So
it
funny.
is so hardcore up my alley. It's ridiculous.
I knew it would be. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's what's the comedian's name? What's this? The dude from
Fred Armisen?
Fred Armisen. Yeah, I guess it's sort of like his brainchild. Him and like.
I don't know for sure if it's like he's an EP. He's an executive producer, and I'm pretty sure. And
so, he had a big hand in it at least.
But there's a couple, like everybody in it is like somebody that's from like UCB or somewhere. Like there are a couple people from the Gethard show and its subsequent, spin-off, I guess you would say, or whatever. But that I really like from those things. But everybody in it is kind of got their own weight. But Fred is the heavy hitter for sure.
Yeah, he's kind of the name, and it's like a Spanish language show for the most part, anyways. And it's like this group of I don't know, probably like early 20-somethings, and they kind of fall backwards into creating this company, I guess, where they get hired out to create these fake hauntings or fake spooky situations to help people fulfill whatever it is they need. So like the first episode is like a priest hires them to fake an exorcism, or like make it look like a girl's possessed so that he can fake an exorcism and like
get glory.
Basically be glorified through a lie. But it's freaking hilarious and interesting, and I love that concept.
Is it like real, or it's just like a
no?
It's a drama. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
Oh, it's a comedy.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's very very irreverent and silly. The rules of reality don't always apply.
Like Fred Armisen is like he was born to park cars. Like
he's like he's like a famous within his community valet. Like he's like
what?
The greatest valet in New York or something.
He's only ever wanted to park cars, and he's been like dreaming about it since he was a kid. And they have like flashbacks when he was a toddler, and he's like lining cars up and they go on to like they talk about his credentials, and they're like, yeah, he's the only man in the world that can park 2 cars at the same time. Just like crazy, stupid shit. I don't know. I love
That's like a cool concept, though. Like even like for real life, like just setting up like spooky situations. And now it makes me want to like make a show about people who specialize in making like haunted houses or something. Just kind of building off of that. I'm like, man, I kind of want to see like a haunted house specialist.
About that. I feel like AMC should do that shit for sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch that documentary called Haunters?
No.
I watched. Is that the one where they have the guy who like makes people say shit?
Yeah, they like half of it is spent with Russ McKamey from McKamey Manor, but they talk to a lot of other people who have like home haunts and stuff and more professional stuff. And they get the dude who runs like Universal's Studios Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
But it's on Netflix, or at least it was last time I checked. It's called Haunters: The Art of the Scare. I fucking love that shit too. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Dude, we should
have
somebody like that.
Also, Hell House LLC.
Yeah, that's good too. I got some Vinegar Syndrome in the mail last weekend, as I already mentioned. So I watched another one of those. I watched a movie called Slaughterhouse.
I'm stroking.
So wait, 11? We up to 11?
No. This is the same batch.
Oh, from the 7-pack. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they had like a sale, and so I'm like slowly working. I don't like this game. But so it's
like a year ago, those movies couldn't have been sold in less than a pack of 7. So I guess that makes sense.
Slaughterhouse is a slasher movie. It's pretty much about this middle-aged dude and his dad. They have a slaughterhouse, and they've been like kind of systematically put out of business by newer practices that they just like refuse to adopt. And so the bank comes to him with a buyer. Somebody wants to like buy their property, and they say no. And the son just decides to murder everybody involved with like them being pushed out of business / the people who want to buy their business. So he goes on to just start murdering people, and his father's like basically rooting him on and like giving him pointers and stuff. And the killer only speaks in pig squeals the entire movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
mean,
Sounds
who
like
hasn't seen a business deal go that direction?
it's good.
Who hasn't had somebody squeal like a pig in a business transaction?
That would be scary though. Like if you think like
Yeah.
if somebody's coming after you trying to murder you and you're like, no, please help or whatever, and they're just like squealing at you, like that would be really scary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would be tripped out by that shit for sure.
I'd be like,
I don't necessarily trust that this movie will elicit that same fear
Yeah,
in me, but
that's
the
true.
concept sound.
And
Let's just imagine it in our minds so we don't have to watch it, Randy.
the intro
Oh,
credits.
Yeah, that's a
The
scary movie.
The intro credits to this movie are set to the backdrop of like a real slaughterhouse. Like pigs are just being like slaughtered, and they just pretty much show you step by step. It's rough.
Okay,
It's
so
rough to watch.
That is terrible.
so if you want me to hold a grudge against you for the rest of your life, then show me that movie. And
Yeah,
oh,
you're the
definitely
last
never
person,
forget
the last person I would show. I also watched The Dead Don't Die, the new Jim Jarmusch zombie comedy joint. It's good. I recommend it. A lot of people are hating on it from what I can see, but I don't know if you want like more of my thoughts on it. There's a new mini cast you can listen to.
Whoa.
Check it out.
I can't wait to do my mini cast on Toy Story 4.
It's horrifying.
Oh, spookiest goddamn entry in the series.
From Beyond. That's it. That's all I got. I'm
I
not
think
gonna
they
finish
do have
it.
a Toy Story Halloween special, maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, man. Just do
think
the whole
that's a lie.
series. Shotgun.
I think that's a lot. Let's go ahead and talk about the main event, gentlemen's. The movie is Feast. Let's start off with the back of the box.
Feast.
What is on the back of the box? So Feast from 2005. Oh wow, fucking IMDb has definitely let me down here. So here's the plot synopsis on IMDb. Patrons locked inside a bar are forced to fight monsters. The end.
Man, IMDb's really breaking the bank on word counts there, huh?
We
Which,
should
to be
start
fair,
making our own
that's
back
what
of the box. If you had to write a back of the box for this, what would you? I mean,
Actually,
yeah.
I think I did because I did. Here's what I wrote.
Way too many characters get attacked by a monster in a bar. That's
I wrote
pretty much it.
patrons drinking at a bar are unexpectedly besieged by monsters. Or let me start again.
This is like the
Patrons-
same.
I mean, that's what the fucking movie's about. Patrons drinking at a bar are unexpectedly besieged by mysterious, bloodthirsty creatures. They are then forced to band together in order to keep from becoming a feast.
That's a little better. But I mean, for as much shit as you were giving IMDb, like,
But honestly, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah,
Dostoevsky
that's what
once
I'm
said
saying.
that a feast of the mind. No. That was my snobby back of the box for Feast.
This movie was directed by John Gulager, who I did not know existed until I watched this movie. But Clu Gulager is one of the stars in this movie, and John is his son, which is pretty fucking cool.
Okay.
I was intrigued to learn that. So, were you guys aware of this movie? Had you seen it before? And would you recommend people check out Feast? Justin, why don't you kick us off, kind sir?
I was not aware of this movie, and but there's like some like familiar faces in it though. Some that I was kind of like surprised to see. I was like, oh hey, there's you and you and you.
There's you.
Hey you.
And it's been popping around maybe our Slack, and I see it on Reddit and like our Instagrams and stuff like that. And it really kind of brought it out for me. So as far as recommendations goes, there's that like horror meme, and it's like the two different horror fans, and it's like the snobby ass one who's got like his wine glass or whatever, and then there's like the one who's like, let's watch like Sleepaway Camp 4 again or something.
It's a picture of Kurt Russell from The Thing drinking whiskey or something.
Yeah, something like that. That, like, really, I felt like that in this because, like, to be fair, this is not the brand of horror that I, like, gravitate to. And not to say that I can't enjoy this brand of horror, because if I would recommend it if you like films like, it kind of reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn and that movie we watched from Tales from the Crypt where they were in the house, Demon Night.
Oh,
Demon Night. Yeah, where they all have to kind of like band together in this small place. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of those movies, and it has like some of those like that kind of feel to it, where it's not like really like comedy, but you know it's kind of lighter, and like they really kind of lay on the gore pretty thick. So if that's like your brand of horror, then you should enjoy this. It's like definitely not the one I gravitate to, and not to say I can't enjoy it and that I don't have good things to say about this movie, but it's not something that I'm like, that's the horror I want to see. I'm definitely, especially like as we've gone through this cast, it's kind of surprised me. I definitely just lean to the other side of the meme these days.
Lean into the memes.
Yeah, I'm leaning on the snob side. Sorry guys.
Sweet baby Jane. Randy, what about you?
I mean, it's no secret that I lean towards the snob side. That's not news. But yeah, I mean, Justin's right. It's kind of this movie that's it just kind of is what it is, and you take it the ride for what it's worth, and then you enjoy it as best you can, and you don't think too hard about it. I mean, we've seen movies like this plenty on this cast, and you know, I wouldn't say that I personally like. I agree with Justin. It's just not what I'm looking for usually. That said, I could see this movie being a lot of fun when I'm not sitting alone in my living room.
That's true. Yeah.
Way overtired. You know, like
True.
Kind of this is another one of those movies that kind of it benefits from having a group around, and it almost is like the kind of movie that you want to throw on at a party because you literally need no information. You can jump in at any time. Like if you're at like a little like get together with like 8 to 10 people or something at a Halloween party or something, this would be a perfectly reasonable thing to have on in the background because you're not worried about really, you don't even have to hear words. You don't have to hear a thing. Like you just have to like have it on. The plot is very much on its surface, and it's. I would hesitate to leave the sound on even if you're watching it alone. So because some of this dialogue is goddamn rough. But that said, I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of the ideal situation for this, and I was not in that, so I'm gonna try and give it a fair shake. But for my money, it's just not what I'm looking for in a private viewing anyway.
All right, yeah, I think amongst the three of us, I probably do lean more towards like the splatter films, like the nonsensical,
like the vinegar hole. It says what?
Vinegar stroke. Hold on.
You don't say, Bob. I thought Vinegar Strokes was a highly reputable company who made high quality films.
Hey, I think they are reputable, but they put out.
They're a good company.
They don't.
I know. I'm just
movies, but they put out. They know what they do. Anyway, like I'm definitely like a big fan of splatter movies, slasher movies. Mindless stuff. But still, this movie dropped the ball for me a little bit, and I mean, we can get into it. But so this movie is about the gore, right? It really is, and I'll explain why I think that. But the way it's edited is it just doesn't really showcase that. It's like very jarring, and it's like it's cut in a way where it almost makes it hard to tell what the fuck is happening at all. And when that's like kind of what you're selling your movie on, then there's not a whole lot left. I don't know. It wasn't like definitely not a horrible movie, but I feel like it dropped the ball a little bit. So if you're just like sort of a splatter movie completist, you want to see some Clu Gulager, you want to see some Henry Rollins, perhaps.
Oh yeah, Rollins comes back.
Judah Friedlander's in it.
I
Judith
think I like
Friedlander, yeah.
I think I like
Jason
this movie
Mewes,
more than the last Rollins movie we watched.
Really?
I
I
think
think
I would
so.
agree with.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
Sure.
damn.
So
Am I
yeah,
gonna be defending this movie? Holy shit! I feel like I'm
Yes.
about to
Yes,
start
you
defending
are.
this movie, which would
Anyway.
be a
You
crazy
better
twist in our cast.
it's like a light
Place your
recommend, I
bets,
guess.
man. Let's go.
Like a light recommend. But I'll drop the spoiler warning here, and then we can really get into the nitty gritty. Here we go. All right, gentlemen.
I gotta say something about the beginning. That scene,
I gotta tell you something.
there's some like weird, there's some weird choices made in this movie that like I just don't completely understand. The beginning being one of them, and it's not all bad. But like the way that they do the intros for these characters, like it seems like a really poor choice to me. For one,
Agree.
so they do this thing, and for some reason, this movie is like very much seems like a product of its time as well. Because even though it doesn't look or feel or sound anything like it, like for some reason when they started dropping those intros, I just thought of like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I don't know, just like the graphics and stuff behind it. I was just like, this film is very like 2005 or whatever, year it came out.
This is so much a product of its time. So
yeah, I can't explain it exactly, like why it makes me feel that way, but it is like, it feels like
tell you some reasons.
2000s movie. Yeah, go.
One reason, the first is the color grading. This movie leans
Okay.
so hard into yellow coloration
Yellow,
that
okay.
it's like it's almost monochrome by the end of the movie. It kind of amps up as it goes. I'm serious. It gets crazy yellow. And setting that aside, it also has like sort of the dialogue and things like that are very much of that time. The hair, the hairstyles and things like that, of course. But like things like the metal music choice or whatever, that's kind of, I don't know, the whole thing is like, it just smacks of early mid 2000s. And I think part of it is like the, quote unquote edginess in the dialogue and the way that they introduce the characters, of which there are so goddamn many.
Yeah, so the intros
is very much like it's like Quentin Tarantino like wrote a book about the formula for a Quentin Tarantino movie, and somebody read like half of it and then used that half for this.
Read the intro chapter. so they go through all of these characters with this very specific intro, and it's like, I don't know, 12 characters? Like
15.
15? Oh my god.
It is 15.
Exactly 15.
So they do this thing where it like cuts away with this like description, like here's their name and here's like something about them and here's like their life expectancy or whatever. And the graphics aren't even really that great and what they're doing. And then after like the first 5 minutes, half of those people just die. Like in the first 5 minutes.
I want to say,
like, why did I need to see this person that you're about to explode? Like legit, like within the first 5 minutes. Like, why would you make me sit through that?
This is like to give people an understanding of what this intro is like. It's like a teen comedy from the late 90s, like where you'd have like, oh, here's Ricky, he's the jock who who's student. It's like the opening of a fucking Can't Hardly Wait, but in horror form, where they have like, oh, here's this class picture with the the quote or the school quote or whatever. It does, like, it gives you all the, like, and you're so, like, by the way, they also go a little fast for my taste. Like, if I'm supposed to read those things, then I needed an extra second because I'm slow.
It's so much information. It's like their name and something else, and then it's like talks about them.
Yeah.
Like there's one person that legit like does nothing, and it's like is about to rob this bar in the next 10 minutes, and like if I like they just die. There's no like, why do I need to know that they're about to rob the bar? Like I don't like, it's like so much information
it's supposed to be gags.
It's meaningless, and they know that, but the thing is, it's so much information and they give it to you for 15 people, and like Jason Mewes is in this movie and you're like, oh fuck, that's Jason Mewes, and it says like, Jason Mewes as himself. and you're like, oh no shit. But then when they talk to him in the movie, he has a different name, and you're like,
yeah,
that's
he's
just
not.
confusing.
Yeah.
The information given is nonsense.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, and then there's like a heroine or like a hero character.
Yeah,
he's just like, his name is the hero.
I did like
he's
that.
Like, I'm here to save the day, and he's like immediately disemboweled.
I actually liked that. I thought that was pretty funny.
It was.
This movie is basically what happens if a Tarantino fan decides to make a Pumpkinhead and Dead by Dawn hybrid film with more characters than he needs to. Like that's basically what's happening here. And and it's comedic in tone. I think I think it's supposed to be like pretty much a horror comedy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just like a lot of the humor sort of like lands with a thud for me because it's really like it's delivered poorly or it's whatever. But that for going, if you're going for that, like for my money, you really have to nail it. If you're coming at a horror movie from a comedy perspective, you really have to be funny, and this movie kind of like drops the ball on that. And I think that's kind of like my major complaint with the movie overall. I can watch a schlockfest, but it's funnier to watch a schlockfest that's sincerely schlocky and not a schlockfest that's trying to sort of make light of itself a little bit and not really doing itself the justice of making it funny. Which I mean, that's a personal taste thing, but like the comedy just wasn't landing for me and a lot of this, especially like that intro thing is kind of a perfect example of that, because every one of those title card things for the characters, all it does is it gives you like an archetype name like the soldier or the boss or whatever, and or Jason Mewes apparently, and then it says like life expectancy not too damn long, I'll tell you, or some shit like that, and it's like
okay, well, say that like for everybody though, pretty much.
It's like he's a dork. He's not gonna last long, or a chance of survival pretty damn good, and then that's the person who dies first, like shit, like which okay, great, like that's fine, that's fair game, I guess, but the problem is like the whole concept of that really is a joke delivery system, and only like I want to say like 3 of the 15 jokes land for me.
Yeah, and it takes way too long to do it, and in the end none of it matters at all, and that's the joke. But you got to make that joke much quicker. I think they spend way too much time on it, because immediately like right out the gate 5 people die, like the hero, the vet, Muse, some character named Harley Mom, and like Cody. They're all just like, so like a third of the characters, bam. Yeah. So you realize like everybody's just a red shirt, and we're here for the creatures at that point, which is like, okay, so here we go. Let's get some creatures.
And one character gets a second intro. I forgot that, but go on.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, actually, I think a couple of them get a second intro. Like
I think like
I feel like somebody dies and then like somebody steps into a new role and they give them like a new, now she's the heroine. Yeah. I feel like that happens like a couple times, but I could be wrong.
Actually, I think it only happened, as far as I can remember, it happened that one time, and I enjoyed that bit because, I mean, if you've already got the pieces in place, making that move was a funny move to me, but the problem was getting those pieces into the place. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry, we've talked about this intro a lot.
Yeah, we get some monster action going on for sure. There's supposed to be like 4 creatures. It's like, I guess a mom and a dad creature, bigger creature, and like 2 kids or something. And they're coming, and like we're told this by the hero, who is immediately murdered, and then his like wife or girlfriend, the heroine, shows up a little bit later. So they're all like just basically trying to hold up in this bar, and they're boarding the doors and the windows and whatnot. Like one of the kid monsters like gets into the bar somehow, and it lays waste, and then it starts like humping this mounted deer head on the wall, like feverishly humping away.
There's a lot of monster humping in this movie.
Yeah,
to the point where it's like
this whole sexual aspect to the monsters, and you're like, what?
It really feels like trying to emulate a Tarantino and Kevin Smith level of movie making, but like 6 years too late for that to be effective.
That is that's a good description of the attempt of influences here. Like it feels like a weird mashup of that just done like pretty poorly. Yeah, because you could say because it does like remind me. I was like, this is kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn, like they're trying to survive like through the night or whatever. But yeah,
it's just tropey. It's really the problem. It's just very tropey. You can see the tropes coming a mile away for the most part, and it's tough to be like very comedic when you're just really meeting expectations instead of subverting them with the comedy that you're using. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the obvious joke here. Yeah, I mean, it's just a little on the nose a lot of the time, and then sometimes it's just like things like the delivery, like some of the original heroine character who busts in after her husband gets eaten up. And she's like, so for those listening, like the story goes like, oh, they're all in this bar. This guy pops in and says, if you all listen to me, you'll all survive these monsters. And then he immediately gets eaten and taken out. And
I liked that. I thought it was funny.
I thought that was a nice subversion. I enjoyed that too. And then his wife comes in and says, where's my husband? And then she's introduced as the heroine. And so, but her acting, man, like I don't want to single anybody out really, but like she hit some 10 notes for me pretty bad. And I was like, man, this is... like, she's trying to sound like really authoritative and badass, and it's really just not coming off that way. And she's supposed to be like the straight man foil for a lot of the antics of the other characters, and the other characters are not. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't work.
One also the backstory they then give them, because they both bust in like, oh, we're like badasses and we're heroines, and they're like carrying a monster head, and the whole thing was they're like, what happened there? She was like, we were on date night and we hit one with our car.
Yeah, we hit one with a car.
So she's just a regular ass person who hit one with her car, and she's no different than anybody. Like she's literally like going out for the night.
She's like laid waste. It's like if the dude from the mustachio dude, I forget his name, from Tremors, Family Ties guy, he comes in, he busts in, and he's like, you all got to survive. And like, that's a movie. Okay, yeah, like that's a pretty standard trope, but it makes sense. But in her case, they're trying to land that trope with somebody who's never killed one of these things.
Yeah.
Who has only survived a car crash.
The dude from Planet Terror or whatever, like the badass who like wields the knife and he's like a gangster or whatever. Like, yeah, okay. But no, they were just on date night. They're married. They dropped their kid off and then hit one with a car. That's it. Yeah. So it's like, well, fuck, anybody could do that.
Yeah.
Accidentally hit something.
Now, one thing that this movie does, I thought, pretty well is some of the special effects. I'm saying some because some of them are not so well done. But like I think that like so early in the movie, the adults and particularly adult monsters, you kind of see from a distance, and they're like they even say like they look like they're wearing animal skins and they've got like like a goat skull in front of their faces and things like that. And when they're in that garb, it's kind of a cool like design, but they move like Muppets, and it seems like a Dark Crystal character in there.
They do, yeah. That's what I was thinking too. The way they move is really strange.
I think though that by the time you get to the end and they like shed that and it's more like a pumpkin head monster, I think it looks a lot better. And I was pretty happy with that for practical effects.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that shit.
I like when they actually lean, even though it's not like my like brand of horror per se. I mean, I can still enjoy it, and like I like when they lean into the schlock more. And I guess it's even like, I really enjoy like From Dusk Till Dawn. It was one of my picks, and even like I don't remember exactly what I rated it, but I remember fondly like Demon Knight, or at least I think of it kind of in a positive way. And like it feels like they didn't lean into it enough. And my favorite parts are when I feel like they do. Like when the monsters finally bust in and she's just like beating the shit out of that one. She breaks all its teeth out. Or one of my favorite aspects of the whole movie is when Frank from 30 Rock, I don't know that dude's name, but he gets puked all over and he just rots for the rest of the movie. To the point where he gets like one of his like eyes ripped out. And then like the girl goes to check it later and like it's like got maggots in it, and he's like, is it okay? Like I liked that. I actually like kind of like that aspect of that dude just like rotting the whole movie, and then his head explodes at the end, like the monsters just kill him. Like that's like the best parts to me, where they actually like lean into the schlock instead of like trying to be like several different things. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's trying to be schlock. It leans into the schlock sometimes, but then other times it tries to lean into like the badassery of the characters, and that does not land at all.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but like nobody in this movie is an actual badass. They're just positioned as a badass. Yeah, or the drama. Yeah, is there any drama? Like, really, is like except for like the one woman whose daughter they're trying to find. Like that's the only character with any sort of backstory.
It doesn't really matter too much to this movie immediately, but there are two more that maybe it matters.
Yeah, I mean they try to like between like the boss man and that one dude where like one kills the chick. I mean they try and like where the little boy gets eaten and they're like, oh, the mom's all distraught. I mean they try to like, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't like matter to me because I don't give a shit about these characters because there's like so many of them and they've already established like they don't matter. And also a lot of them just, when that one chick died, so I guess the badass chick died, I had to take a second and be like, wait, which one was that? Was that the mom or was that like, like I just like had this
Well, it was
like
a little hard to read that scene too.
It was weird, yeah. Like I couldn't like because they were like in the attic, but she had gone outside and I was like, wait a second, what? But whatever. I just like it like it got to the point in the movie where I just kind of glazed out and I was like, wait, what? Who died? What's going on? Like, so
yeah, there's so many characters that like it's tough to invest in any one of them. But if there is one that you're invested in, it's the one that you need to be, which is the I guess she's a waitress with the son who gets eaten right away, which I thought was pretty bold. I give him that. It was pretty bold. It was a little bit like edgelordy maybe, but it was bold, and I appreciate sort of that kicks off her character arc a little bit. In that, you know, her whole, if anybody has an arc, it's her. She goes from this like downtrodden woman who's being fucked by her boss literally in order to like keep food on the table for her kid, and it's just really fucking depressing. And then the kid really gets pretty much immediately eaten by one of these creatures right in front of her. And then, you know, eventually the heroine person who should have been leading them like up until about halfway through the movie, she takes that role. And then, you know, she's like the only person besides the two brothers that survives to the end. And, you know, so if anybody needs an arc, it's her. And I like her whole situation is a bummer. And I actually did feel for her. If I felt for anybody, it was her, just because of like the logistics of the character, even though like you don't really get, it's not really conveyed to you. It's just, it's I don't know. It's kind of like you're reading a bio of somebody. You don't actually get to know the character. You just know
like you don't see her like shitty house or like her trying to pay the bills. But you know,
there's just
like,
not a lot of moments.
Yeah, she's a
there's
single
just like
mom.
a lot of moments where she's just kind of.
Yeah,
all
I
that
agree.
Stuff definitely kind of falls flat for me because they immediately tell you in the first 15 minutes of the movie that none of these fucking characters matter. So it's like, okay,
that's true.
They kill a child. Like
I'm along for the ride.
They subvert expectations by first killing the hero that comes in and is set up to be a badass, which is fun. But then they do it again with the soldier who's coming home. They immediately kill that guy too. It's like, okay, so the most useful person here. He goes, and then the child, which is another subversion of all the subversive options are chosen right away, and all you're left with is just like various levels of cooterdom, and a few like blank slate characters, and then Judah Friedlander, and I mean, you know, so it is what it is. So it's tough to feel invested in the woman's daughter when you've also got a kid that just got ripped out of the window in the first 5 minutes after being like completely unceremoniously, but we're supposed to like if you're supposed to give a shit about this little girl, why didn't we give a shit about that little boy, except in relation to forming a bolder mom in her place?
I guess that's the thing too, is like I like that they killed the kid, I like that they killed the hero, but they almost do it back to back to where I was like already numb to it, to where I was like, oh, I just saw this happen. Like, and the first time it kind of surprised me and I was like, oh, I like that. And then it happened with the kid and I was like, I feel like I should feel more about this, but I just saw it happen and my reaction to that hasn't really faded yet. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Actually, there's also, in that same vein, there's also another problem, which is very similar to something you'd see in Lost, where it does that thing where everybody's always has to go somewhere else. Like, everybody's like, you've got the central bar area, and everybody's either going up in the attic or down in the basement. Up in the attic, down in the basement. The whole movie.
What I want to talk about real quick. Let's talk Monster Dick real quick. So,
I forgot about that.
They split up. A couple people go to the basement to do whatever, and then a couple people go upstairs because there's a radio upstairs. And one of the monsters like about to break in through a window or something. So they send the Bozo character. We don't know his real name, but he goes in there and grabs the radio, and he like barely gets through the door before the monster breaks in. And the monster's chasing him through the door, and they slam the door shut, and the monster's dick gets caught in the door. And
balls.
And balls. And they cut that shit off and then
with the machete.
and it explodes, and you see like the jizz and the blood, and it explodes, and then that's in this movie.
Well, first it wiggles around a lot, like Ash's hand in Evil Dead 2. It's just like skittering around for a few minutes, kind of with a mind of its own. I kind of like that. That's a really dumb thing to have in a movie, but honestly, it kind of makes me laugh specifically because I imagine the position your monster has to fly towards that door in order to just get your wiener caught in it. Like, so it's just like it's this swan dive into the door, and just to get your cock and balls sliced off. And I mean, that's also post the scene where they kill the baby that's in they capture one that in an ice chest, and they shoot the ice chest and they kill it. It takes some doing, but they kill it, and they don't realize it's a family somehow. They don't realize that this is like, I don't understand this whole thing. And then like they watch the two adult monsters bang it out outside, and then they give birth immediately to two new ones. So it's like, what the logic here is
they just like bang it out like on a car or something, right? Like they just
against the old lady's car,
Yeah, because she has to turn off the alarm.
And Henry Rollins' big scene in this movie, like, is him suggesting what leads to this, which is like they have this dead like small creature, and he's like, we're gonna show our dominance. We're gonna put this thing on a stick and show them that we killed it. And I'm like, in what world does nobody say, don't you think that might make them angry? Even if they're not a family, like how many like if you have an enemy battalion outside the front door and a spy sneaks in, you kill the spy and you hang it up outside, isn't that provoking them? Like, if you're not going to scare them away by showing that one died, they're going to get pissed. Especially, I don't know.
Didn't it work for Vlad the Impaler, right?
I mean, Randy. It was just very... Randy? Well, hundreds of thousands of heads on Pike. It's not exactly putting one creature outside when there's a bunch of giant monsters.
Is that Henry Rollins is way into history, and he's going to motivate your ass. Okay, that's all.
Man,
I'm saying.
Dude, Henry Rollins is like, I like the guy. Like as a person, I find him really fascinating.
He seems cool as shit.
But man, that dude needs to not act, probably. I mean, or at least
not a good actor.
I mean, I don't say that. Like he's probably like, honestly, like I think his perspective, if I'm guessing at this, but I'm assuming his perspective is like anybody in this movie, like, well, fuck yeah, I'll be in a dumb horror movie. Why not?
Sure.
And I can't blame anybody for that. But man, like he's not given a lot, and he certainly doesn't, build anything off what he's given. It's just very much boilerplate character, which is a shame.
The characters they leave you with, like as just characters, like their details are not super interesting. You're left with the dude who likes to hustle people in pool, and you're left with like this motivational speaker. Like, I mean, they're just not like why the fuck should I care about Henry Rollins' character? He's not anything. He's just like, he's got this weird shtick, like I'll motivate you, and it's like, okay,
he does get
weird.
This movie slacks pulled off, and then he ends up wearing like pink sweatpants for the rest of the movie. What the fuck?
And then the way he dies is kind of funny. I really liked actually the way he died, where he goes out for some unknown purpose. He goes outside in one of their many plans that they're trying to achieve. Just an excuse to kill people, basically. Yeah, probably that. And he goes outside, and then like a few minutes later, after shit hits the fan again, they're like, "Oh, is that?" For lack of a better term, is that Henry? Oh, look outside! Look outside! He's fine. He's alive. He's alive. And they look outside, and he's being rammed headfirst into the door to try and break down the door by the monsters. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
he also was like, "Oh shit!"
Like
gets his head spat.
Like the dick getting cut off and wiggling around, and then a man being used as like a battering ram by monsters. Like those things are like so goofy, and like, but then on the other end of it, you're right, like they try to get like this like badass thing. It's like, it's just like, pick one, probably the comedy one, because those are the things, like, I agree, it was like kind of funny, like, oh, how, like this guy, because it's so dumb, but it's like those worlds don't mix well, because it's like I can't take anything seriously. Yeah, when I've seen like a dick wiggling around, but you're trying to make me take this somewhat seriously. I don't know. So yeah, it was like,
it's not really straddling the line well is really the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't know. whether to be serious. It doesn't know when to be serious. It doesn't know when to be comedic or how to be comedic in a lot of parts, and it doesn't know when or how to be badass. And it really shouldn't, honestly, in my opinion, try to be, because there's only a select few like movies I can think of that are both hilarious, scary, and badass. Like, I don't know. Like,
here's another really
such a hard.
Really dumb thing. Let me ask you guys. So this movie ends. I'll just like, they kill the monsters, which is just like, why didn't they just do that? Like, you know, like in the end, they just like have a showdown with the monsters and they come out victorious. They kill them. And the end of this movie, let me ask you guys. Like, this is so dumb to me. We have the hero and the heroine, okay? And their whole thing is like, we got to get back to our daughter. Where did they leave their daughter? Can you tell me? Where did they leave their daughter?
Their parents' house or something?
Yeah, at her grandmother's house. At her grandmother's house. So at the end of this movie, these people are having this like thing like, oh, we gotta honor her. Let's go pick up her kid or something. Like, should we go get this girl? And I'm like, what? What grandmother is going to hand over her granddaughter to a bunch of bloody strangers? What? She's with her family. Why do you have to go pick up the daughter? That doesn't make any.
I don't know. Did they say they were
sense? Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like, her daughter's still out there. Oh, we should like go.
I
get
know,
her.
but were they going?
Just like,
did they say they were gonna get her? I mean, maybe it just wasn't clear.
Yeah.
They did.
Like,
okay, well then that's dumb.
Go.
I mean,
because
if they had said something like, "We need to go let her know about her parents," like then I would be okay.
She has this whole moment where she has this piece of paper where I guess the heroine had written like the address and like gave it to the waitress, and she's holding it and like looking at it like, oh, like thinking, you know, like, oh, I have to honor her or whatever. And I was like, she's with her family. Like,
they just like a simple tweak would have saved that, where it's like, instead of going to save the daughter, you are going to break the news to the daughter, or otherwise you have the daughter in the car and then being chased away from the car by one of the creatures and just being separated.
I was just like, none of that makes any sense. Like, not a lick of sense.
It doesn't. Certainly not enough. But
it's like, let's go pick her up. I was like,
the emotional core of this movie is to have three psychopaths covered in blood come and steal a child from her grandmother.
There's like one other scene of this movie that's sort of like eclipses all the other like blood and gore and whatnot. That I don't particularly like know how to bring it up because it's really fucking gross.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
I don't think Freelander getting
no. So the like honey pie character, she's like, I think it's a honey pie character. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. One of the characters gets like snatched out of the building, and like one of the little baby creatures just like starts.
Oh yeah, her face.
Mouth. Oh my god,
I forgot about
it.
And then she like
that was the biker woman, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
I forgot.
Yeah. She got dragged out. They find out she's alive last second, which was actually, I thought, kind of cool.
Me too.
I did not think that was cool because like so she gets her leg cut off at the knee in the beginning of the movie, and then they play it like she's dead. And I was like,
passes out.
But who would die? Yeah, and she just like comes back. I don't know. I thought whatever.
Well, anyway, I guess like she passes out because her leg gets cut off. I assume like, oh, blood loss or just shock.
Yeah.
And like, and they're just kind of like, oh shit, there's monsters outside. They pick up some people, they throw them down, and so their whole thing is like, okay, we're gonna use some bait. They're looking to like eat us or whatever. So we're gonna strap a bomb to this chick, and they're gonna like take the bait, and we're gonna blow them up. So it's like, okay, that's a solid plan. They carry her up to the attic, and it's like the two cooters, and they're doing this whole thing, and she wakes up like she's like, oh, help me or whatever, and of course they're like, one of the dudes it's like, oh, fuck you.
First is like, oh no.
Yeah, one dude is actually like, oh, maybe we'll
like,
save her.
Fuck her.
Yeah. And then she gets snatched out anyways, so she's still alive. and then like, oh, they're like fumbling to get the cord to like blow the bomb up or whatever. And while she's just hanging out there, yeah, she does get like fucked by a monster. I forgot about that.
Mouth raped by a monster, and I don't particularly care for that myself.
Yeah, I forgot about. Yeah, that's true.
That I just like, I can laugh at a monster's dick getting cut off or whatever, but like,
right.
That was sort of like a whole nother level of like. It's just not enjoyable. I don't know. It's like,
no. I mean, we're all pretty like squeamish around that sort of like against your will sexual situations.
Yeah.
Rape as is commonly known. I just don't like, and it doesn't really play as a joke for me, which is clearly how it was intended. It was supposed to land as a joke, like, oh, it's fucking her, and I'm just like, that does not work for me. Just kind of like best I can do for that is gloss over it, because otherwise it's just a.
That's true. I kind of just like I was like, yeah. Because and also too, it like kind of makes it even more fucked up. Right before it happens, she's kind of like begging for her life. So she's like, "Oh, help me, help me!" And then she gets ripped out of a building.
Also, being completely screwed. It's also like right in the middle of like again like one of the only actually effective or somewhat effective dramatic scenes in the movie, which is them arguing about whether or not to save this woman who they thought was dead and was So it undercuts what little dramatic tension there is with this terrible and poor taste joke that just does not work on any level for me.
Who cares about that drama anyways? Because they pick the two shittiest people to put in between. I already think these people are huge pieces of shit. So him choosing to like let somebody else die just makes me he's a huge piece of shit.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think we should rate this, unless there's anything we definitely got to touch on that we haven't.
To touch on that, I do want to say this. Like, I think that the intention with that scene to have those two cooters be the ones dealing with that situation was to have Pool Hustler, the bozo character, come give him a little bit of dignity or a little bit less, showcase him as the slightly less shitty option, because he's going to be the one that ultimately survives with the other woman and his brother in the wheelchair. So. I mean, that's the only thing I can think, because otherwise it's kind of fruitless. Anyway, I just want to put that out there.
All right,
let's rate it.
Let's do this thing. Justin, why don't you kick us off out of 5? How you feeling about Feast? Also, hey, before we rate this, we've said this before, and I just want to say it again because I do feel like a little bad about it, like because this was a Patreon pick, and we fucking love all the support from all you guys. Like, we really genuinely do appreciate the hell out of it. And just because like we might not particularly love a movie you pick for us, that is in no way a reflection upon you whatsoever. And I just like feel the need to like restate that. I don't know. I think everybody gets it.
I think
and it's probably unnecessary, but I feel the need to.
It's really funny because Horror Apocalypse does a Patreon pick too, where they'll rate a movie. To start their Patreon picks, they talk shit about their Patreon. They like throw them under the bus. They're like, "You pieces of shit, you're making us watch this," and we're all like, "We're so sorry." I just wanted to point that out. That like it's absolutely true. We like don't want you to think like we hate you guys.
We worry about it, honestly. We fret about it. Sometimes we'll get a movie and we're like, "Hey, have you watched this yet?" And then we'll be like, "Yeah, what do you think?" And then it's like a few minutes of us being like, well, we don't want anybody to fucking be like hold a grudge against us because we don't love this movie, but
we also
we love you. We love you guys.
We very much want to be honest in our opinions, but we just want to know that our opinion of the movie is not our.
Oh, you honesty.
Yeah.
You can't buy our opinion.
You're buying our honesty and our undying affection for your support. So
very true.
That's.
Justin, sorry. Go ahead, man.
I feel a little bad because we did spend more time than I thought we would shitting on this movie, but I did like have some positives. Like the final showdown was pretty cool. Like I said, one of my favorite scenes was just kind of that chick just wailing into that monster and like beating its teeth out to the point where it doesn't have any teeth anymore, and then she just reaches into its throat and like kills it or whatever. So I like that kind of. I liked when they leaned into schlock, even though it's not like my favorite brand of horror. I
know where you stand.
Yeah, I know where I stand on it, and I can enjoy movies like that. Like I said, I really enjoy like From Dusk Till Dawn and stuff like that, where dude has a gun on his cock. So I mean, I'm not I'm not above it by any means. It's just I wish like it would had its own, leaned into its identity, I guess, instead of just kind of like going between a couple different things. But like I said, I liked how that character just kind of like rotted the whole movie, and I thought that was effective. It was gross, but it looked good. Like he kept just getting like more and more moist and nasty looking, and his fucking the maggots in his eye, like that shit was disgusting. But I mean, like it was effective. Like so, that was cool, and I like that. And even in the end, like they got creative. Like they're finally like using Molotov cocktails. I'm like, you're in a bar. Why did it take this long? And like the bear traps and stuff like that. I don't know. So like toward the end, I was ready kind of like for the showdown. I guess the whole suspense like didn't do anything for me. Like, oh, we're stuck in this building and like, oh, these people are getting yanked out. I'm like, I don't care about that person anyway. So like, let them get yanked out. I'm not like holding my breath. Is this shitty person going to survive this situation? Like, I don't care. So, that kind of aspect falls flat. And I wish it had just been more like ridiculousness, instead of like trying to like toe the line, I guess. But I don't really want to watch this movie again. And like I said, there are movies that have done this type of situation, people stuck and they got to fight their way out, much better. So if I'm jonesing for that kind of thing, I would just kind of lean more toward that. But it did some things fine, or some things good. I think I'll give it like a 1.5.
All right.
1.5.
Randy, how you feel?
Copy paste. Yeah, I feel pretty similar. Like the best parts of this, you hit every point I was going to talk about. From what I could hear, I'm having terrible connection issues. But that aside, yeah, I think like the things that are good about this movie are like things like the effects and the showdown scenes, like you said at the end, knocking those teeth out. I was like, yeah, I was pretty into that. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, this is like the satisfying moment for the end of your movie. Great. The things that don't work are some of the acting, the overload of characters, and the way that intro method. There's just too many characters for that, guys. It's just too many characters for all that shit. Find another way to get your jokes in. Some of this humor is a little bit like a little too dumb for my taste. If you're not gonna like just go whole hog into it and be like the Wet Hot American Summer of horror movies, then I don't know, man. It's you want to go absurd, go absurd. It's because it's really tough to hit absurd, badass, and hilarious at the same time. Well, I'm sorry, absurd, badass, and dramatic all at the same time. And it doesn't really try to do dramatic, so I give it like credit for that. It's not like they're really aiming for strong dramatics, but they're like they go for an emotional core of some kind, which they need to, and it's pretty weak. But again, it's just not. I'm not too worried about that because that's just not what this movie's aiming for. It's pretty clear it's not. But even just the line between trying to have this badass like I don't know, kind of movie we'd watch in college sort of thing, like this like, and then at the same time be slapsticky, like straight up slapsticky in the middle of all that. It just doesn't it doesn't really land that pirouette at all for me. It just keeps kind of hitting that. It keeps hitting with thuds on all those moments. So, and some of the acting is some of the worst I've seen, I'll be honest, in the modern day. And the other thing is, and this is not the movie's fault, this is completely a thing of mine, which is that whole era of low budget movies is like my least favorite era of low budget movies, like the early 2000s low budget thing. Like for the most part in horror anyway, there's just almost nothing from that era that I was interested in, and it all just sort of like smacks of the edgelord high schoolers that I went to school with.
Those are dark times.
Cutting off a like oh, and then he cuts his dick off. Yeah, like oh, and then it fucks her mouth, and then she spews cum, and like that. It just seems like something that would be said in a fucking back of somebody's car while you're smoking a little dope or some shit on the high school premises. So, it just doesn't really work. Like, it's just a little sophomoric for me. And it, like, if you're gonna go that route, fine, but it's just not for me. I can't go with it. I can't get down with it. All that said, though, like, the effects. This movie is, for me, the best part is the effects, and I'll give it that all day long. It does a good job with that stuff, and I love that it's all practical.
Randy, stop beating it.
I don't know.
That's what Randy's mom said.
I gotta knock out every tooth so that I can rip the gullet out of this movie.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you give it, Randy?
I give it a 1.5. That was what I was gonna give it.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Control C, Control V.
It's kind of strange that this isn't gonna happen, but I also am gonna give it a 1.5.
Whoa, Bob.
So yeah, I definitely agree with everything you guys said. I've got problems with like the pacing of this movie. So like, yeah, you're introduced to all these characters and then 5 die right off the bat, and then you've got like 45 minutes where nobody dies, and you get like some creature gore that's okay, and then after that like 8 more people die. So there's like this huge middle section of the movie that's just a major lull, and you're spending time with these characters that you've already been told that you shouldn't care about because they don't fucking matter, but you're like forced to spend time with them, and like I don't get why. Like, they should have spaced the kills out much better, I think. Also, like I already said, the editing, specifically when like the gore effects are happening, is just terrible. Like, it gets in the way of being able to see what's actually happening. And that's what this movie is about. It's sort of working against itself in that way. And like, yeah, the acting is pretty rough. The creatures do look cool. I just wish that you could have seen more of them. And like, I don't know, like some of the weird like sexual jokes are funny, but some of them are just like kind of over the line and just not, they're just in poor taste in my personal opinion, I guess. And I don't things that I just don't really care to see, I guess. It's okay. It's not great. A 1.5 for me, and you know, aggregate's going to be a 1.5. So,
and we're giving Vincent 5 stars.
Yeah.
5 stars for Vincent.
That's exactly.
Thank you.
5-star human with a 1.5-star movie.
That's
the story of my life, man. but reverse it.
I can reverse it. Let's go ahead and get into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about Feast. Juice, take it away.
All right, Feast. 53 count on the critic score. So let's go around the table and see who can get closest. Bob, why don't you kick us off? I feel like I always make Randy go first.
You do. Okay. I'm gonna guess a 33%.
33% on Feast. Randy, what you got?
33 that's a weird number. I'm gonna go with a.
Not that weird.
I don't know. It's just like,
it's a number.
We don't usually go into the
because it's not like a 5 or a 0.
Yeah, you think 1/3 of critics like this movie? That's fair. I think it's less. I'm gonna go with 25%.
25. All right, this is strange. Something's happening here. Something has happened that I can't compute. Rob's gonna win. This movie, I'm still keeping some of my sanity because this movie it's still rotten. But it's 57%. 57% on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
With a critic consensus of, what's this dude's name? Gallagher?
Yeah, John Gallagher.
Gallagher. Director Gallagher makes the most of what he's given. The resulting feast offers up some surprisingly tasty, if far from nourishing, morsels.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disagree.
I don't know. We are. Let's see if we're men of the people, because we're not men of the critics or whatever.
Apparently not.
We're not holding up. Which makes me feel a little bit better for Vincent. Man, we're just fucking fools.
We are.
let's get into the audience score. And it's actually for this movie, if I had to guess, I would have guessed the user ratings would have been much lower. 20,000 on the audience score. I'd never heard of this movie before, honestly. So 20,000 is kind of surprising to me. So let's go backwards. Randy, you start us off. Audience score, user rating, 20,000.
I'm gonna go. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with 50%.
Okay. Bob?
Yeah, I'll go higher. I'll go 60.
60. Okay. Again, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. I'm off balance. Rob's gonna nail it.
This is not logical.
Rob nailed it. It's 60% on the nose.
Oh shit!
I think that's 2 bust weeks for Randy. Damn, Randy. I think we gotta start measuring it. It's in the 3rd or 4th week, Randy will get it or something, and then bust.
Oh, the spreadsheets have a slot for it. We just never put anything there. So.
Randy, you just tried to troll me via emoticon, and it just glitched so hard. It was awesome.
Sure.
Congratulations.
Oh, it's so good. Sorry.
So, overall, this is rated much higher than the Straight Chillin' Crew. We are off it this week, boys. We are not even anywhere close. We are not
men of the people. We're men of the proletariat. We're nothing.
We rated it an average 30%, and critics 57, audience score 60. So we are way behind on this one. I don't know what people are seeing that I'm missing, but I don't know. And I thought maybe Bob would be more into this. I mean, with all that vinegar syndrome kicking in, I thought maybe he would be the voice of reason.
Has to be 25 years or older for that to kick in.
I guess that's
true.
That's true. So, and maybe what it could be too. I think we're a little jaded for that time when Randy was talking about how terrible that we look back and hate ourselves. God, we're just little shits back then. I mean, I think that's part of it, honestly. I think we're just
myself.
I think probably 16-year-old wearing a Perfect Circle t-shirt Bob probably would have loved this movie.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that idea of oh shit, I probably would have loved the shit out of this movie, or you know what I'm saying, between fucking Randy's
Mario
whole description of that time and the whole edgelord voice thing, and that rings too true. It's just oh no.
You know what this reminds me of? That whole era, when I think of it, the first thing I think of that early 2000s period are those commercials that used to come on constantly that would sell you custom MySpace emojis and ringtones were MIDI ringtones of Save the Day, or not even Save the Day. That was too early. Thinking My Chemical Romance and shit. That if that was expounded into a feature-length horror movie, this would be the movie.
Damn, it just made me think of Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
That's just what I immediately. I don't know.
What do
trivia?
we got? Yeah, Randy got some
Randy
trivia.
Promised some trivia hype.
Let's
So I think I can shed a little light on our problems here today. Ready to roll?
I'm ready, Randy. Tell me about it.
Okay, so let's start with something that this is probably the biggest piece of information. So this movie is part of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's Project Greenlight program. So
I
this
did see
movie,
Ben Affleck in the credits as an executive director.
That's right, because this movie was created as a part of an HBO series, or I guess it was on Bravo at the time, but in which Matt Damon, and I mean, I don't know if you guys had heard of this. I've never seen it, but I am aware of it. Where they basically go through the process of making a movie, and they select a script. They select I don't know exactly how it works because I haven't watched it, but they select script, a director, all this stuff, and they Affleck and Damon are there to sort of guide them. I think as the Mr. Miyagi's of the group or whatever, because they made that one script that they wrote, and And so this is like, this movie is automatically sort of imbued with all of the trappings of a reality TV program in some capacity. So I think that might, honestly, I think that the scores that we're seeing from both critics and users might have been softened quite a bit by watching a whole season of a show in which they watch how this movie got made.
Yeah.
That's my only. So,
that's really interesting. What do you think, Bob? Yes. Good point. Interesting.
Yes.
You're really shedding some
light
on this, Bob, I think.
Bob has walked away. He's had it up to here with the horse shit. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were apparently at one point going. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna wait for Bob. We're gonna sit through this.
Right, Bob? Right? That was good, huh? That was
so
interesting,
informative, and interesting, and enlightening.
Man, what was your favorite part of trivia?
I love when you talked about how it was part of Project Greenlight. That was really enlightening.
What's that?
It's that show that people got funding to make a movie.
You know, who was behind that?
To recap for Mr. Not
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Chris Moore, and also
somebody's got access to Google.
Wes Craven had his little fingerprints.
Wes Craven was involved. Yes. So to recap that for the poorly informed, so it's part of Project Greenlight. So like a lot of these scores were probably softened by the fact that people watched a whole season of a show watching this movie get made. I mean, that would endear you to the people making it, and that would endear you to the movie. I feel like that's got to have something to do with it. Coming in completely blind to that fact, I think that we all kind of like missed out on that little softening agent. But this is also interesting. At one point, there were talks of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck playing the characters of Bozo and Hot Wheels, who was played by Balthazar Getty and whoever else, the Cooter and the Cooter's brother. The Cooter and his brother. But of course, they did not. As Rob mentioned earlier, John Gulagar is Clu Gulagar's son, and Clu is, for me, like immediately synonymous with Return of the Living Dead, and I think for a lot of people that's the case. Yep. He's very well liked in the horror community to begin with. I was happy to see him, honestly, even though he didn't really do a ton. I mean, I just don't like. There were just too many characters for him to do a lot on his own. But from what he had, he did a good job, and it was just good to see him. Honestly, same with Judah Friedlander. Even if Judah had shat the bed, which I think he did pretty capably compared to some of the other people.
He shat pretty capably.
He shat capably. The capable shitter. So the role of the hero that we get introduced to, was originally offered to Mark Wahlberg, but you'll never guess, turned it down. He turned it down. Didn't want any part of this movie for some reason. The original script had more action spots, but producers decided they had to be cut to fit the budget. I imagine there's a rousing episode of Project Greenlight about just that issue. And now for a couple of what I like to call unfortunate trivias. Let's start with this. This was in IMDb, so I'm just picking it straight out. This is one of several films that Harvey and Bob Weinstein took under their new production company, the Weinstein Company, after their separation from Miramax in early 2005. So this was one of the This one has Weinstein's like flagship product right here. So just a name, just one name to bum everybody out real quick. And now here's one more. So scenes.
Did he ever go to jail? What happened to that guy?
Oh yeah, he's in jail, I believe. Well, I'll have to double check that. But he just had his court date. I know that.
Okay.
Here's another sad thing. Another sad trivia. Scenes featuring a cameo by blank were edited out of the final production. Now I want you to guess who this might be, because you never will.
Scenes by
who was edited out? Huh?
So somebody was supposed to be in the movie and they were cut out?
There was a cameo by somebody and it has been edited out, and it's part of sad trivia.
Tarantino or
no.
Who's a molester?
You will not guess this. I'm going to tell you, you will not guess, because
Chester's
out of
molester.
left field.
I don't know.
It's a little man called the O.J. Simpson.
Damn.
What?
OJ, and I want to remind everybody that I believe this was around the time that If I Did It was hitting newsstands. It's a book about what would happen if he had actually done all those things he was on trial for and got away with.
What would have if? Oh my god! What
Look up the date for that real quick.
I can't even get into that. And no. Especially after the
2 years later.
Especially after the Ted Bundy thing, where they tricked him into talking about himself. Like, analyze the person that did do these crimes. Well, I mean, they probably brandished a knife and held it to her throat. It's like
they probably were a big man named Ted Bundy.
People, what is wrong with these? Fucking
no.
OJ. If I had done it,
Twitter was not happy.
This is probably exactly how it would go.
So OJ is unfortunately stripped from this movie. I think we all would have had a great time seeing OJ in an acting capacity again. All of us. So yeah, that's trivia. That ends sad trivia, and that ends trivia. So there you go.
We live in a world, don't boys?
The
Thanks,
juice
Project
is
Moonlight.
loose. Let's go hunting, boys.
Oh, okay. That sounded
the juice is loose. Let's go hunting.
Woo!
That's a little problematic, you might say.
Oh, I really got to find the original Cooter bumper because I had to make this new one and it's very weak. I don't know where the old one went. So my vote.
Cooter.
Yeah, that's actually.
We can't hear it, so as far as I know, it's just like,
to be honest,
welcome to the Cooter review. It's time to review your Cooters.
I had to make it really quick before last week's show, like super quick, and it's just not very good. Anyway,
Bob.
yeah, I just gotta find that other one. My vote for Cooter of the Week is the Monsters.
Okay. Interesting
well,
take,
right.
Bob. That was not my take, but
they're
Randy.
raping and pillaging the whole movie.
Raping and pillaging.
And
we don't know their
young.
motivations.
That's true.
Their motivation is revenge.
And they even have the weird attire because they're wearing like other dead animal carcasses and
okay,
shit.
so
as opposed to what do monsters normally wear?
So Bob's got a notch. Bob's got a notch on the attire, and Bob's got a notch on the sexual deviancy. Anything else?
I don't know, just like the murder. I don't know if that really falls into
Not a plot, not a.
Yeah,
that's not smug arrogance, Bob.
Yeah, and it's not really manipulation, I guess.
Do they manipulate our people in any way? Maybe
I was
they're.
think. I don't know if they
I don't
do.
think so. I don't think so.
No, I guess not. So, I don't know. Yeah, they're like half on the spectrum, I guess.
Yeah. Randy, you want to weigh in? Who's your Cooter cake going to? Did you?
I think
there's a lot of options.
I know, that's the thing, is there are a ton of options because this movie does not shy away from any sort of edgelordy thing. It was between Bozo and the boss for me, and I kind of came out to the boss because just the act of coercing your employee to fuck you and so that she can feed her child. Fuck you, just fuck you. That's
mine's
that's a sexual deviance
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was Boss Man.
I mean he's like the obvious choice is Bozo, but it's.
Yeah, I mean, even Bozo shows like some remorse. Like they give him a little humanity, I guess. Like he's like a doofus or whatever, and he's a Cooter light. But Boss Man, I feel like hits pretty heavy on a couple. Definitely like coming out strong on the sexual deviancy, like from the beginning. You're right. Like there's a single mom. She's got like put the headphones on her kids, so you have to go through like the whole experience. They're like, oh man, they're like, this is fucked up. And like the boss man knows it's fucked up too. Like, yeah, like, so there's that. High on the sexual deviancy. He does some manipulation.
Like you, or pretend you feel it as he's fucking her.
You feel it, girl. She's like smoking a cigarette. And what manipulation, he tries to manipulate like Bozo into like not telling people, like threatening him like with the gun and like kind of talking to him, and I guess he manipulates like a couple people, I feel like. And let's see, attire, he's a little goofy in his get up. I mean, it's a little I mean, it's not like
It's pretty standard to be.
Yeah, he's
for
got
that
what he
era.
got the cowboy hat a little bit. He's got like that Midwestern cooter
Part
kick
of
in him.
a boss of a bar in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere.
And he's got a smell of smug arrogance on him. Like the way he handles himself, he kind of like, who shot me? And like, I don't know, he's just got that pompous kind of swag in his gut, you know?
Swag. Gut swag.
What?
Kind of like got off to an early lead for me as well, because he just for no apparent reason started like being really fucking rude and shitty to an old woman for no reason, and he just continues that through the whole movie,
He really
being
does.
very sexually explicit with this old woman who's literally just sitting there enjoying a drink, or not even enjoying it, just having a drink.
Yeah,
Also, he's
gives her
just
a lot of shit.
furious that nobody will play pool with him. Furious. You dumb pieces of shit won't play pool, you pussy ass. It's like, God damn, dude. Nobody wants to play fucking pool or at a fucking bar drinking. God. Jesus. It's
So
in a
I think
fucking
it
pool
goes-
hall.
I think it's going to Boss Man then. I'm outnumbered.
Boss man.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Cooter of
not
the
bad.
week.
I didn't even really think about the monsters, but you're not far off, Bob. I think
that's
there's a lot of options in this movie.
Yeah.
There's lots of
It's filled to the brim with cooter behavior.
Mhm.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
True
On
that.
various.
True that. Cool. Let's get into some horror news.
Good news.
We got some news. Okay, first up, I want to talk about. There's actually a lot of good news, interesting news. So, we're getting a new Paranormal Activity movie, which is unnecessary.
Moreland.
Moreland.
That was definitely one where I remember freaking out on Randy.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
sweating
that
in the movie
definitely
theater.
That was,
I
I
worked
think,
up a
the
sweat.
first Paranormal. It just shows how long we've been
Actually,
friends.
First one, yeah.
that's the one that you were definitely turning to me and asking me what was going on in the movie. And on the other side of me was Drew, our resident serial killer from the early episodes,
Drew is
who
so
was
bored.
not interested in this movie and completely bored.
It didn't
And so I
bother
was
him
sitting there like,
at all.
it was like a color gradient of interest. It was crazy.
I'm losing my shit. Fucking Drew can like care less.
And I just turned and looked at Drew, and Drew's just like
Nope.
shaking his head at me. Like, okay, well, I'm really kind of like getting mixed signals from this audience.
So this is going to be the seventh installment in the Paranormal Activity series. Yeah, number 7. So
I didn't realize.
We don't have any details, and they specifically said the last one, part 6, which is called The Ghost Dimension, came out in 2015. That's the only one that I actually have not seen. I've heard it is just garbage. But they said that was supposed to be the final installment, which of course, horror franchises.
That's what
means
they always
nothing.
say.
Yeah. So we're getting
The
another one.
final
It's gonna be-
chapter for now.
It's going to be produced by Paramount and Blumhouse, per usual. So I don't know. We're going to get another one. I imagine it'll probably come out like probably, I don't know, next year, spooky season, if I had to guess. So we'll see.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Maybe it won't suck. The
It will.
next bit of news, we got a trailer for Hulu's next Into the Dark segment. It's called Culture Shock, and it's I'm mainly excited about it. So I saw like a still and it had Barbara Crampton in it, and I was like, sold. You got me. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to premiere on Hulu on July 4th, and it looks like it's got a Stepford Wives kind of vibe to it, maybe. I guess.
You know what it made me think of? It made me think of Get Out mixed with Big Fish. You know that city in Big Fish that they go to, where it's like in the woods, the shoeless city. That always kind of creeped me out as a kid when I saw that movie. Just that, and that's what it was. Almost like that idea that I developed in my mind as when I was young. Like, oh, this is kind of creepy, but like fleshed out. Like, oh, what if this was this city out?
Well, this is also like this trailer's. It's definitely hitting topical shit, because the premise appears to be that some people, some South Americans are trying to cross the border into America. One of them is pregnant, our lead woman is pregnant, and then something happens and she wakes up in the Stepford wife situation with the baby already out and Barbara Crampton sort of guiding her along as sort of like the mom of the house or whatever it is. And it's all very like fancifully dressed. It looks like the Edward Scissorhands neighborhood. So I mean, like they're definitely going for something pretty topical and pretty sensitive, honestly, like especially right now. So I am a little worried, to be honest, because from what I've seen of Into the Dark, it is very spotty in quality. And as much as I love Barbara and I want to see her like kick ass and and as much as I want to see a good story told about that topic in the horror vein, like I'm kind of doubting they can pull it off. But I'll definitely give it a watch. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the plot or what we can make of the plot, and I don't know. Like Barbara's done some great stuff lately. She's done some not so great stuff lately. But I'm intrigued that they're kind of swinging for the fences on this one, or at least it feels that way a little bit. Because if you're gonna do it, why not do it?
That's kind of how I felt about the Mother's Day episode, though, too. And that one was like, it was fine. But when you're dealing with a topic like this one that's so hot at the moment, like I don't know if fine is going to cut it. You really kind of have to nail it. And I don't know.
Yeah, this is going to be like the inspiration for the next Jordan Peele movie whenever that comes out.
Definitely, the making of this movie is his next movie.
Yeah, he's like, I got you.
Let me just clean this up for you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming out 4th of July. Next bit of news. So we got some more Creepshow, the TV series information. So they released a little bit more regarding like plot synopses and casting. I really want to talk about the casting. So we got some Jeffrey Combs coming into some Creepshow, which is pretty fucking cool.
Get a job at a sideshow.
Exactly. We got DJ Qualls.
DJ, the new kids in the house.
Fucking up in this. What has that dude been doing lately? I mean, I
don't know. Like he's a great he's done a lot of bit characters over the years, but I haven't seen him do anything substantial in a while.
Since like Road Trip, I think. I don't know.
The last thing I remember seeing him in was Breaking Bad. So,
oh damn, I forgot he was on it.
It was like one episode. He was a cameo. So
we're also gonna get Big Boy of Outcast, Big Boy, and fucking Kid Cudi too.
What? Kid Cudi, he does a decent amount of acting, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done any horror yet though, so that's kind of interesting. Kind of.
Not that I know of, anyways. Yeah. I don't know, but
he's actually. I think he's like, from what I've seen, he's like actually a pretty decent actor.
That's cool. I hope so. I hope this shit doesn't suck. That's in addition to Adrian Barbeau, Tobin Bell, David Arquette. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Randy. I don't know. The casting is sort of nuts. I'm not going to read all the plot synopsis because it's like it'd just be a lot.
That's too much.
Yeah. I mainly want to talk about the cast because I'm just kind of blown away by the names they've got going on here. So looking forward to that. That's got to be coming out like September, October on Shudder. It's got to be spooky season. That's perfect for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also got some more news regarding a sequel to Halloween 2018.
So the Banh Mi Chronicle?
The Banh Mi.
I hope there's more Banh Mi sandwiches in discussion.
Me too.
We didn't really get literally just the first 30 minutes of this movie is actually just Alton Brown walking you through making a banh mi at home.
I hope it's in a banh mi restaurant. I hope that it's like the center of this whole story.
I hope the main character's name is
Bond. I feel like we didn't dive deep enough into what makes the banh mi and like why it's so important,
All right. So this is like half confirmed, I guess. Anyway, so rumor is they're going to be shooting the sequel this fall. It's going to be released October 16, 2020. And Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Andy Matichak are all going to be coming back as the Strode family. And David Gordon Green is going to be coming back to direct. Not sure who wrote it exactly, but David Gordon Green is definitely going to be directing, if this is all true. From what I was reading prior, Jamie Lee Curtis pretty much gave them the ultimatum. It's like, I'll come if Gordon Green directs. So it was like a package deal. So that's interesting.
Let me ask you guys, because this movie, I had some problems with it, but what I felt like it was trying to do as far as like being a sequel to the original is like, okay, we're going to wrap this story up the right way or whatever. Like, people have some problems with Halloween 2 and the family thing. What are you hoping? From this sequel, after what we saw and how the last one ended, what really are you hoping that this new Laurie girl like carries the torch? Like, I mean, what are we doing here? What are you guys looking forward to? Because I didn't love.
My hope was that this movie would not be made. So
yeah, I mean, obviously that was my hope.
I kind of was hoping that they wouldn't go that route, and of course they were going to, because it's a horror movie, and like. I don't like. I'll watch it, and I might enjoy the shit out of it. I don't know, but my natural inclination is to be like, okay, you guys finally sort of like you took this like these spaghetti noodles of this Halloween franchise and organized them and put them in a dish in the way they should be and served it up, and I enjoyed it. Why the fuck do you want to now go back and start like pulling out all sorts of new shit? Like why what? What are we like? Why are we just adding more disarray?
Now they're gonna just make another problem. Honestly,
exactly.
Like, if it's great, then it's great, and if it sucks, then it sucks. I still have all the other movies. I don't know. I want to see.
That's the way you.
I want to see what else like some interesting creator could come up with. Like, I'm not a writer. I don't know what they could do that would be great or not great. I hope that they know. And if they don't, then I'll be like, that did suck. And I never have to watch it again.
I just feel like after like the movie, like I don't feel like there's any loose ends that I really want followed up. Like, at least in the original Halloween, like, oh, he's gone, or like something like that. And like, in this one, he's like gone out of a locked basement somehow that's on fire, whatever. But it's like, I don't care about seeing any of those teens return. And the whole thing was like, oh, Laurie's come back. She's like a bad, like that was the spin. And so like now we've seen that. And now her house is burned down. So unless she built another badass like house with trash,
is she gonna die again in this movie?
Like, it's just
probably.
Michael Myers gonna kill her again a third time? Is it third or fourth?
Like, I don't know. I'm okay. It's like the Wandaverse.
No. I know she dies in Resurrection, even though I haven't seen it. I know she dies in Halloween 2. So and then Halloween 2018. That was the third one. I'm sorry, Halloween 20. No. Yeah, and I'm sorry. No, she doesn't die, does she?
No, she doesn't.
Okay, never mind. Fuck me. Is she gonna die a second time? Okay,
yeah, second time.
Less egregious, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. So the very last.
Just give us the Bond me. That's all. I mean, that's the only loose end that needs to be expounded on.
The only way to enjoy it is to actively do the same thing.
We got another trailer.
You're not gonna shut us up, Bob.
We got another trailer. It's for the sequel to the television series The Terror. This is called The Terror Infamy. It is about a shape-shifting ghostie that stalks a Japanese internment camp. So this is produced by Ridley Scott, as was the first season. And it's going to be premiering on AMC Monday, August 12th. And it's got George Takei in it, which is interesting. I don't know. Yeah, you guys watched the trailer. What are your thoughts? What you think?
I'm enjoying the first season right now. I haven't seen it I've only seen maybe like less than a third of it so far, but I'm enjoying it. So I'm excited that they're going to continue with a different story and stuff. I'm reserving that excitement for after I see the first season a little bit, but yeah, I'm a little excited about it. And also the subject matter is again another sort of like hot issue like right now. But I feel like the terror that I'm seeing is got a little bit more like it's a little more button up than the Into the Dark series, in my opinion, so far from what I've seen. It's like a deliberate pacing and things like that. It's not a movie; it's a show, so you get more deliberate pacing. Maybe that's why I sort of am drawn to it. But I am interested that George Takei's in it. I believe his parents went to an internment camp when I think he was in an internment camp when he was like a child. So it's got to add some credence to whatever story they're telling there.
Yeah, he's got some real stuff to pull from, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed the first season of The Terror, and I was surprised to hear they were going to make another one, especially because it's, I guess it's like an anthology type situation where the seasons don't necessarily connect. I really enjoyed the first one, though. Yeah, it's a slow burn, much like a lot of Ridley Scott's stuff, but I like that. And it's got some pretty neat creature stuff, too. So I'm interested to see more of that, I guess, just in a different setting.
With all the anthology series that are happening in horror right now, like I'm trying to figure out what their bent is. Is it just sort of like adding horror elements to historical settings, historical tales, like actual events?
Yeah, it's like pseudo fictional horror.
Yeah, it's like it's historical fiction horror.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's kind of interesting.
It's interesting. I didn't expect there would be another season either, but seeing that this is coming out, I think that's an interesting tack to take with it, and you could lead to a lot of really cool like other seasons as well, other bits to the anthology.
It sounds like a more well-funded, thought-out thing that you would see on like the History Channel, where like
kind of.
Oh, was there a ghost in this intern? But it said they're just like, oh, we're gonna make it up. But how the History Channel.
I can't wait for the Ancient Aliens season.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
He did Nazi Gold, the horror movie.
History.
Yep. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that coming August. Some more spooky for your ookie. That's pretty much all I had for news. We do have a couple of voicemails. Randy, your trolling is still crazy glitchy. It's hilarious.
What?
I'm not having a problem with Randy. Well, a little bit, but not much.
I've got a huge problem with Randy.
How am I coming through, Bob? Am I coming through okay?
Crystal, you both are. It's just Randy's little trolling emoticons are freaking out.
Well, that's all that matters.
We got two voicemails. We got two voicemails this week. So if you guys want to call and leave us a voicemail, you can do that at 904-638-3231. First up, we're going to hear from Stacy, who chose our last week's pick. So let's go ahead and hear what she has to say. Here we go. We got some revisionist history there. Perfect 5-star rating.
Yeah.
For people who did not hear the last episode, that was Escape Room that she had recommended.
Yes.
So
Yes, it was.
Thanks, Stacy.
I also think if you listen very closely, you can hear the exact moment where Stacy forgets my name.
I think that moment's ongoing.
What is that? What is that person's name? Thank you, Stacy, for calling in and for picking Escape Room. You know, like we said last week, we probably wouldn't have watched it otherwise, and it had some pretty cool shit going on. So
yeah, and that scene was
you
cool.
made a good point about some of
the
yeah. And the camera work in the upside down room, that was really good. I wish we had thought to bring that up.
Yeah, we're not professionals, you know. So
still holding that grudge, huh?
You know it. We got one more voicemail here from Michael from Horror Apocalypse. Let's go ahead and hear what Michael has to say. Vaginal escape day.
Dude, that was already funny, but I always read the text-to-speech on Google Voice. It says, I hope you have a very happy vaginal escape de Mayo celebration.
Escape de Mayo.
Yes, vaginal escape de Mayo.
And it capitalizes escape. So happy vaginal capital escape de Mayo celebration. Like, what are you thinking, Google? What are you doing?
That's an event at the 31st of May where I have no idea what that's supposed to be.
Bob and Randy, you guys first couple weeks in your early 30s, are they as bad as I told you they'd be?
I'm gonna start a band called
I'm already asleep.
Called what, Bob?
Called Escape the May.
Escape de May? De Mayo?
Escape of May. All right.
Escape that May. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Appreciate that, man. My birthday was last week, and thanks for calling in. I'm old. Getting old is cool and stuff.
You're the youngest fish in this room.
You should do it.
What did you say?
No, I said it's real cool, kids. You should do it.
That's true. You should.
And advocate. You should die at 27. Be in the club. That's the way to go.
Don't do that. Don't advocate that. That's bad.
Advocate.
If you guys want to call and leave us a voicemail and tell us how much we suck, you can do that. Call us at 904-638-3231. That's going to do it for us here at Straight Chilling this week. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode. As always, we're going to be talking about a little movie that was the winner of our June poll pick. Ooh. We're going to be talking about The Wailing.
The Wailing.
I'll
have the proper name ready for you next week.
The Wailing.
You got to do some research and
I gotta get all my Korean set up and ready to go.
Gotta get it set up. Gotta set my brain up. We're gonna be talking about The Wailing next week. Man, it was on Netflix for quite a while. I haven't looked for it in a bit though. I don't know if it's still there. It may or may not.
Yeah, I know I watched it in December when I was home for Christmas, but I don't know. Which weirdly enough, when I got back to Korea, it was not available on Korean Netflix. So I was like, well, what the fuck is what the fuck? The actual fuck.
They want you to buy that shit. I got that one in the mail the other day. So
whoa, Bob. Oh, we didn't do the count. Wait a second. All right, we've added The Wailing, so we're up to 11. Bob, we gotta get the whole count. All right, so did you add any more from Vinegar Strokes?
No. So this is where I get shamed publicly for how many Blu-rays I buy.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
We're up to 11 now. It's the 21st of June. This is June. This is the June count. We're gonna rewind every month. So we've got 11. And what else, Bob?
I picked up Us Us on 4K because that came out this week. And
12.
so, are we only counting horror movies?
Good choice.
Oof, I guess.
But we don't want to hear about your porn, Rob. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's it.
Well, keep it to horror. Okay.
Okay.
So we're up to 12 at the 21st. Okay. Good to know.
That's pretty good. It's pretty
We'll
good.
see how high we get.
I'm showing
At the end of the month, we're
restraint.
going to calculate and see, like, Bob could have bought a jet ski or something. That's our
Expendable
goal.
That's like,
are these movies worth the jet ski? That's an old favorite.
Yeah, it's Bob's.
dude, that's like one of our oldest
Bob's-
jokes.
That is one of our
Is
oldest
Bob's
jokes.
budget more or less than a jet ski?
Are we going to go over or under? We're going to start taking bets.
That's the over under. We have to define precisely how much a jet ski costs now. Like I don't know that it's like 10 grand,
Are we talking?
50
I
grand?
mean, are we talking Sea-Doo? Are we talking?
I would suggest like Sea-Doo fresh out the box, like sort of base level Sea-Doo, nothing too fancy, fresh out the box. Like what's that retail?
So cheapest new watercraft start at $5,399, and the most expensive can exceed $17,999. So let's say
go over or under.
So let's
for the year.
just call it 10 grand, maybe 10 grand.
Call it 10.
I thought Randy just said 5.
He said 5 to 17.
That's for
right?
the cheapest. We can go with the cheapest. That seems fair.
We can do that too.
I don't know if Bob's gonna spend $10,000 on Blu-rays, but
if
maybe.
I spend $10,000 on Blu-rays, I cannot afford rent.
Bob, do you want me to do a quick math? It's June.
No.
We're not even done with June yet, and you're up to 12.
How much of a jet
and
ski
those
could you
things
buy?
gotta cost like 20, 25 bucks a piece.
Oh, well, that's not entirely correct. Anyways.
Oh, do they vary? The costs vary.
I don't know. That Piranha Steelbook,
Incorrectly
Bob, what was
tabulated
that? Like
by
30, 35?
It was $50 trillion. All right, that's it. That's it for us this week at Straight Chilling. We're going to be back next week talking about The Wailing. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. It's a really easy way for you to support the show. It helps people find us that don't know we exist. It only costs you a minute or two of your time, and we love that shit. You can also follow us on Twitter at str8_chilling. We are on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join our Slack channel, which apparently is exactly like Discord, just let me know on any one of the social media websites, which we don't have.
Let's not throw that into the mix.
I'd be happy to send you a link to join our Slack. Just let me know you want to join it. Watch Justin stream video games on Twitch. When are you streaming
next month? Watch Bob stream video games.
That's true. We're gonna do it.
It's happening.
We're gonna do it. I think that's pretty much it. So until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.